This is Ira Lipson. Jody Seay is a native Texan, a Dallasite, and the granddaughter of a North Texas cattle rancher. In 1974, Jody arrived at KZEW-FM in Dallas amidst a swirl of softball dirt from pitching for the WFAA radio women's slow pitch team. She landed with a thud at the zoo's traffic desk and quickly realized there was much more to the running of a radio station than a velvety voice and the ability to know the difference between RPMs. She did, however, find that the fast-paced, beat-the-clock work suited her, and she enjoyed having her finger on the pulse of the station. As anyone knows who's ever done it or even witnessed it being done, traffic is an intense job. Jody, however, loved being in that center point between business and creativity. And when her job expanded to include continuity, she accidentally discovered that she had a knack for writing advertising copy too, and that microphones weren't so scary after all. The Zoo Crew loved its listeners. They in turn loved the Zoo Crew right back. That love created not only respect, but trust. Here's an example. Calls coming to KZEW were often routed to Jody, who kept a dusty 45-pound PSA book on her desk. Flipping through that, Jody could usually hook the listener up with whatever nonprofit organization she felt could help them. Twice, Jody received calls from young women who had just been raped. And rather than call the police department, they called the zoo, the people they knew they could trust to help them. Luckily, the Dallas Police Department had just created its Rape Crisis Center, which was staffed with kind and caring people, and Jody was able to steer these young women in the right direction for help. Despite thousands of commercials written, produced, and scheduled, Jody says receiving those 2 calls meant more to her about where she worked and who she worked with than anything. Jody Seay departed the zoo in 1979. She moved to Oregon in 1988, where she is a writer, having penned 3 books and a musical. Jody Seay remains grateful for her life and the people in it, especially those sweet folks from radio days. Please welcome the 2018 Texas Radio Hall of Fame Sammy Award winner for Standout Female in Broadcasting, Jody Seay.
Thank you. This is the honor of my life, and I'll try to get through this without collapsing or crying. First of all, I'm very grateful to Bill Harrison and Ira Lipson for living long enough to remember that I worked with them 40 years ago and to nominate me for this award. It's really a tremendous honor. At the zoo, I worked there so long ago that I worked with Josh Halstead's dad, and Josh Halstead was this big, so he grew up. Yeah, it was a wonderful time. My job, it was traffic director. It was on those big boards, and we wrote all the numbers on of the carts on a glass board with grease pencil. Some of the carts were some of the clients that we had several carts, and so for all of you out there who've done traffic and continuity, I have this to say: 11, 12, 29, 48, 53, and 144. Those are the carts for Sound Warehouse all at one time. I don't always play the lottery, but when I do, I play those numbers, because there's got to be a reason it's still in my head after 40 years. Traffic is an intense job, and mostly women do it, and this is going to sound awful. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but men could not handle that kind of pressure. I really don't think so. And my hair, I worked there when God and I were both brunettes. That's how long ago it was. And one time we were sold out, and the transmitter blew. We were off the air for 3 hours, and I had to make up all those spots. When I got home at 12:45 that night, my hair had turned white at the temples. And my friend Charlotte said, "You take your job too seriously." And I guess I did. So, how are we doing? Another 15, 20 minutes? Anyway, there was an American actress named Ruth Gordon, and she began her career as an actress in 1927. She mostly did Broadway, and she did playwriting and so forth like that. In 1968, she won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in Rosemary's Baby. When she went up to get her Academy Award, she said, "Well, this is very encouraging." So that's what I have to say today. This is very encouraging. And ultimately, I left radio, but it never left me, nor did the friends that I made there, and I'll treasure always. So, and I want to thank also Mary Stoddard for being such a pioneer for women in radio in Texas. And I think I'm up to my 2 minutes now, so I better hush. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.